Hey, everybody, welcome to another Monday Evening Mojo. Man, where the purpose and the mission around the Monday Evening Mojo is 5 things, really all in one, encouraging the weary, right? Hey, those of you already like, man, this week, the day is already Monday and you're already tired and you're like, oh, man, you're just having some struggles. We want to let you know it's okay. We got you. We know how that feels. I know how that feels. We got a message for you each and every Monday, right? And to transform and inspire the ones that are stuck in that mess, right? And that stinking thinking, man, and challenge the comfortable, right? And it's okay to be comfortable. I don't know. Hey, listen, I believe in that. You know, sometimes comfortableness and convenience don't live on the same street, right? So comfortable when you know you're meant for more. And that voice is telling you that, but there's certain things that you surrender in your journey. So you think you're comfortable, but you're mentally never resting. You're mentally never finding peace, right? You're spiritually, emotionally kind of tied up in knots. So you really ain't resting. You really aren't comfortable, but it feels like it. Sometimes old familiar pain can feel comfortable over time. I know how that feels, man. I used to look at that kind of stuff and I didn't want to change some things in my life, whether it be relationship bound or business or spirits or whatever it was something to get comfortable and you stay that way, right? So anyway, 3, cut out the stinking thinking, call it out and cut it out, right? Recognize what it is, put a name to it, and move on from that and activate a comeback posture for the week ahead. And that comeback posture is built week after week after week. And part of that posture is understanding that the comeback is designed as a lifestyle, not a limitation, not a thing, right? It's really a lifestyle, man. When we start to see the comebacks in our lives tied to something even more powerful, then I didn't realize this, and I started to put the dots together, right? If you believe in who created you and the gifts that we've been given and the inheritance of all the land and all these other things, then we know, and it says that you're not going to get it without some struggle. You're not going to get it without some tests. And the true piece of it is really when you finally, check this out, when you finally say, okay, I'm grateful for this difficult time I'm having. I'm grateful for whatever feels like a heavy load on my back and my shoulders, because I know it says that, you got to give up to get, you're going to pay for some things to get to where you want to go if they really mean something, right? Celebrating the challenges, what feel like setbacks and struggles and roadblocks, celebrating them just like they are the victories. And they will soon become that, victories, right? So anyway, man, today, this message today is, I wanted to share a personal experience I had, and I encourage you to, there's a lot, I wrote a lot in that description, and so come back and read it later if you don't have time to read it before. I know you're only supposed to give you something about that big to read, but I encourage you to go back and look at it. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to read through some of it together, and part of Monday Evening Mojo is I really kind of like to just speak what's on my heart, and so I don't prepare a lot for it, but I do have notes so I can kind of get through this thing without bouncing around. Because, man, I want you to hear me when I say this. Wherever your life is, I hope you're knocking it out of the park. But if you're battling some things and you keep getting in your own way, then you're in the right place tonight. I'm going to share a little bit about my journey this weekend, right? And then I think the title is "The Benches Along the Way." You probably wonder, what the hell is that, Jeff? What do you mean, the benches along the way? Am I resting or am I retreating? Well, hey, I believe in exercising, and I've been fortunate, even with prostate surgery, it'll be 3 years ago next month, and, clean bill of health and all those other things, and not really being sick at all up until then. And so fortunate to have a lot of good health and so all these things. But, I this last month or so, man, something weird happened to me physically in my back, and I was, just off my game for a while. And so anyway, we walked earlier this week, and there is a point in my story, so stay with me. We walked earlier, it was like 115 degrees, and this felt a little different, right? Then I'm cool. So we go out Saturday, man, and check it out. Halfway, not even halfway, at the very beginning, I'm thinking I think I maybe even mentioned to my wife, hey, if you feel like you need to go ahead and step a little further ahead, go ahead and please do that. Make sure you do that, right? And as you come in, please let me know where you're coming in from and share this information. And all you folks out there that have been supporting us. We want to say thank you. And Comeback King Enterprises and Conversations with Jeff, which is hosting the show tonight. We appreciate you guys. So listen, let me get back to what I'm talking about, because it's it was the whole thing, how it evolved during that hour and a half, I think, walk that Saturday. Kind of gave me some reflection on where some other struggles in my life was coming up at, right? So anyway, the pace felt harder, the distance felt longer, and I was moving at a slower pace, and for the first time in a long time, man, that Stinkin Thinkin was, woo, man, it was loud. It was like, man, this is hard. I mean, you got a long way to go, bro. And we went. Let me just give you an idea. We weren't walking someplace where I could sit down and call an Uber or a Lyft to come pick me up, right? It was a beautiful park in Houston, and it's a big circular around a golf course and driving range and tennis courts, and you're not cutting through any of that stuff. Man, if you start here, you got to walk all the way around to get back to your car. Right. So, I mean, there was no turning. Well, I could turn back around. I thought about that many times. Right. My wife said, well, if you turn around, it's the same distance as going forward. Okay, all right. Man, but the Stinkin Thinkin was screaming at me. Any of this sound familiar to you? Right. How many times have you lately? I'm gonna ask this question. How many times have we been moving towards a dream? Right. And the screaming starts, the closer you reach the dream, but the closer you get, it's like, oh man, it's just screaming louder, and the obstacles are heavier, and the struggles are just, and you just want to quit. Healing from a setback, building a business, repairing a relationship, or stepping into your purpose, only to hit a point where you wanted to stop. Man, I'm gonna tell you something. If you just hop on, I'm talking about my journey over the weekend, and there is a point to the story. So hang in here with me. Let me know where you're coming in from, and so give me a shout out or something. Hey, I'm from here. I hear you, Jeff, and here's my situation. Because we're talking about some things that are really real for everybody. I think they are. But this is what I really realized in my walk. It wasn't so much about the walk, man. Right? It wasn't about the walk. I think I said not every, those benches that started to look really good for me, right? When I was like, man, I can just sit down here and catch my breath. So it would have probably taken me all day if I sat down at every bench, because I really wanted to sit down at the beginning, particularly at as many of them as I saw, right? Not every bench serves the same purpose. Some benches are there for rest. I got a couple of things. Some of them are there for rest. Some of them are there for recovery. And listen, I would have done it. If I was really feeling bad, I would have stopped and called somebody. But it was like, oh, man. It was this. It was on steroids. The Stinkin Thinkin was heavy, man. Right? And some benches are for hiding places. And that's what I was wanting to make sure I wasn't doing. I wasn't hiding. Right? I wasn't hiding from what's going on in my life. And sometimes it's a place where we settle, places where we convince ourselves we've done enough. I mean, there's a bunch of benches. You can put something on each one of these benches, things that you can put on the bench, right? Places where you convince yourself you've done enough. That's one of them. Places where you feel disguised. Places where fear disguises itself as comfort. So whatever that bench name is for you. But here's the mirror moment, right? We always have that mirror moment in our lives when we look at things and we're like, okay, you're looking at this mirror, you're looking at that one, and then you're facing, and it's the real expression that comes back at you that makes the difference. The real question I had wasn't, should I really take a break, man? It wasn't about that. Check this point out. It was about, am I resting? If I take a break, am I resting or am I retreating? Right? Am I retreating from the things that I've been working on in terms of creating this worldwide movement with Comeback King Enterprises and talking to people all over the world about, hey, let's line up together and let's create 10 million folks that are Comeback King and Queen warriors and understand the power of seeing the lifestyle as, the comebacks as a lifestyle and not a limitation, and a strength builder, and celebrate that and find some gratitude, all that stuff, right? Instead of focusing on the entire distance, I started to remember this journey is going to take one piece at a time. So all these benches, I mean, probably the first 15 of them, I had all bunch of excuses on those benches. Why I wanted to quit, right? Justifying myself as to, hey man, you know, it's hot. You walked the other day and it was 115 degrees and you lost 5, 10 pounds and all that noise going on in my head, right? So I started to focus, like I want to talk to you this week, and I want you to focus on many, many, many goals. Right. For a while, it was I'd count like 4 or 5 trees ahead, and I'd make sure I counted 1, 2, 3. When I got to the fourth tree, I start over again, right? And I start to battle against that raging, stinking thinking. I said, okay, if I can make it to these trees, then maybe I can make it to the next tree. So then there was the light post, and then it was the people that had passed me up that I started to gain some momentum on. And there's a point to the story, so stay with me on it, right? And before long, man, by doing that, I had gone further than I thought it was. What's the lesson? You don't have to conquer the whole journey today. I didn't have to get all the way around the park. You know, I was thinking, I'm never going to make it. This is the long walk. I'm hot and tired. You know, my legs are, you know, everything was hurting more than it felt like it was hurting, right? Because my head was just, I was dragging stuff from years ago that popped up out of nowhere, right? I don't even, where did it come from, right? Just all these things. So again, we don't have to take the whole journey. We just have to take the next step. And comeback warriors understand this, right? We don't quit because the journey gets difficult. You guys are comeback king and queen warriors. You haven't quit because it gets difficult. You step into the difficulty. You keep moving. You take one step, like I've been talking about. You take one decision, right? It's one step, one decision, repeat. One step, one decision, repeat, right? And that's why Comeback King Enterprises, man, and you folks, we're committed to building 10 million folks across the world that says, I get it. I'm going to stand in my comeback as a lifestyle. I'm going to embrace the opportunities that come with the benefit of seeing it that way rather than the limitation. Because I receive the gift of life in a way that only you're going to get to the maximum of it. And when you stand in the difficult storms and you stand gratefully in those storms, right? And it's just my opinion, right? But my life has shown that those experiences are true. Right? Challenges don't diminish us, folks. Challenges do not diminish us. They develop us. It's healing in the lessons of life, right? And the more we do that, the more we step into it, the more powerful our life grows, baby. And so, you know, what's up, Tiffany? How you doing? One step at a time. Comments are all over the place. And so if I'm ignoring people, I'm not doing it on intentionally. Good to see you, Tiffany, as always. And some of the other folks that I've seen come in and out, man. And so I'm kind of getting down to the point where I want to ask you a question. What is it that we talked about challenges and then the healing and all those other things? So let me ask you tonight, where in your life have you mistaken hiding for resting? Put it in the comments section or think about it later. Where in your life? And these benches in life, right? All these benches that look so good, man. I'm telling you, it was like, what's going on with me? Why am I so tired? Why am I blah, 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 blah. But I was doing this because we had just finished a week-long session, right? Working with men and just thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate that. Working with men and man, he was like, I wasn't sure how it all impacted. So I was carrying all that stuff and I'm just keeping it real with y'all, right? I mean, I talk about comeback king lifestyle, but I go through the same stuff that you guys face too, man. I want you to understand and know that this is real and you can do it. What did I say at the very beginning? You know, encourage the weary. I'm weary. Sometimes I got to encourage myself, man. And you folks showing up, help me out doing that, right? So what is the question? Let me get back to my question. Where am I at now? Okay, guys. All right. So where in your life is a mistake hiding for? So I really want you to think about that as this week goes on. What is it what bench are you still sitting on? And if you're resting, listen, I encourage you to get the rest. I encourage you to do the reset. All that stuff is really important, right? Because it's going to take energy. It's going to take commitment. It's going to take all those things to get along the way you want to go. But it's the bench there because it's comfortable. It's comfortable, but it also is kind of a hiding spot for you. and has something happened in your life that makes you want to just kind of retreat a little bit, I'm giving us all permission to rest and reset and all that. But I'm asking the real question I want you to ask yourself. Right? Are you sitting down because you're just sick and tired? I get it. Take a break. Or are you sitting down because you got punched in the face? Things didn't go the way you wanted to. Hey, I could say I wanted people with the challenge, and that didn't happen, right? So, I mean, now something's wrong with me. So I want to own all the things that are wrong and why it didn't work the way I wanted it to work. All that thinking, hey, this is, put yourself in words I'm using for myself. See where it fits, man. So, boy, I had a bunch of things all over the place here, but I just wanted to just say to you that when we do, when do we keep going? When do we rest? And when are we simply hiding? So I want you to keep those three things in mind this week as you go along. And we always like to give you something to kind of measure yourself with. I think we did that. So do me a favor, as always, I want you to keep track of yourself. Take an inventory throughout your day. Take an inventory throughout your events that happen. And when is it that you're looking to hide? When is it that you're looking to take a break? And when is it that you're just kind of not sure and you keep moving anyway? So I'll be reading through the descriptions. I kind of jumped around a little bit, but I do want to tell you this before I go, that I believe in you folks and that each and every one of us and you have the reasons and the gifts to do amazing things. And I believe you can get them done. And if you need to change the circle of influence around you, I encourage you to do that, because there's no better time than now to say, hey, we're moving in another direction, right? With AI giving people the opportunities to really do some amazing things. And I say do some amazing things with AI. AI is not here to replace the human. It will replace some human roles. That's unfortunate, but that's the facts of it. But it's not here to replace the human. It's here to help the human, help it guide. It's a flashlight, right? Turns on, flash some light on some dark things, fill in some gaps on that stuff, man. It's not the source. Let it be something that you can use in your life if you're struggling with that. And I hear about people all the time, Jeff, why don't you help me out with this and talk about AI and all these other things, but I'm not here to do that tonight. I just want to ask you one question. Well, I've asked you a bunch of questions. What will you do this week when the Stinkin Thinkin rises and you sit back on that bench? You know, those many benches that I was like, man, this thing looks good. I gotta tell you, man, my ego was crushed this weekend, guys. I'm like, man, what in the heck is going on? This ain't right. But we made it. Where's your ego and your pride holding you back at? And why? And who or what caused it? So anyway, hey, listen, I appreciate everybody. Thanks for stopping in, Tiffany, man, and hope all has been well with you and your family. And for those folks around that, keep showing up, I appreciate you. We appreciate you. And let's make this thing grow together. We can't do the goal without you folks helping us get there. And you've been doing a tremendous job. So let's move forward with it, man. Right. And fellas, I'm going to be with you all week again this week, round 2 for the challenge. Thanks for showing up and encouraging us to make sure that we deliver what we promised to you. And for everybody else tonight, have a great night, great week. Measure the benches. You're sitting on one. If one of them's comfortable, but it's not real comfortable, but you've been there so long, it feels like it is. It's time to get up. What bench are you going to get up from this week? Put it in the chat in the comment section. What bench is it when you're going to get up? And let us know how it goes. So anyway, I want to thank Comeback King Enterprises and Conversations with Jeff for hosting this thing tonight. Thank everybody for showing up. And as always, you Comeback King and Warriors, Comeback King, Queen, and King Warriors. Remember, lifestyle, not limitation. Growth, not setback. Gratitude, not complaining. In the most difficult times, let's find the gratitude, and that's where the real gifts begin, baby. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Men, we'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central Time, day 2 of the challenge. And those in the community of Heartbreak to Healing, we appreciate you and continue to participate in the things that you're doing for yourself and in the group. And we'll see y'all next week. All right. Figure out where those benches are, baby. Get up off of them when you need to. Rest if you must, but don't you quit. All right, guys. Good night.